Okay, for this video we're going to actually show you how to do the double diamond, and this is kind of my go-to hitch when it comes right down to it if I can't seem to get things to stay in place on a load. And you don't have to be quite as tall and reach up and do some of the rope work that we do with some of the other hitches that we've shown you up on top of the saddle. It's going to be more on the side, and I can apply more pressure to the sides of the load versus the right on top. One thing I wanted to point out before we get too far along in this video is that it's always, while you're throwing your hitches on and stuff like that, you should notice things like this, is that these buckles have a keeper for a reason. And the reason for that is they need to be underneath there. Actually, that hole will tear if it's applied too much pressure, and that can catch on a branch or anything out there in the field, and eventually over time it'll actually strip this whole piece of leather, and then you end up repairing a piece of equipment or actually using a piece of equipment that is actually not working the way it was designed. So make sure that you use your keepers on all your buckles if you've got them on there. So anyway, here's the double diamond. We've got, it takes a 40 to 45 foot rope. So the one advantage of a single diamond is it takes, far less, 30 or a little better feet of rope in order to throw the diamond hitch. But that's why I like to have some longer ropes. It's always easier to use a longer rope for a shorter hitch, is what our motto is around here. But anyway, here's my last cinch. First thing I'm going to do, first step, is just throw it over the top, just like that. I'm going to move around to this side. And if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm going to pull this down and I'm going to put it right in here in this keeper. So you're going to have to throw it on the ground if you don't have one of those, but there you go. I've got it set up there. You want to have this, that cinch should end up right in the middle of his belly. Okay, so I'm going to pick that up with my end of my rope and I'm going to cinch that up. I want to get it fairly tight, nice and snug, and I can work that a little bit, and then I'm going to throw a hooey over the top right there to make it hold. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is actually reach up here. I'm going to run this behind the first strand, and I'm just going to tuck it like this so that I can drop it for a second. I'm going to pick up my coil at this point. I'm going to throw it over the top just like that, still behind the first strand. Pick it up on this side. Okay, make sure that this is right in the middle of my panniard. Pull the slack out of it, and then I'm going to come right down here to my cinch ring, and I'm going to pull a loop through there. I can give it another little snug on it, pull on it, and I'm going to actually put a loop through a loop right here to tie it off. Now I don't want that big long loop catching on things as I go down the trail, so I'm going to actually shorten it up and throw a lock over the top of it, just a half hitch, overhanded half hitch, hooey in our world. So I'm going to put that just like that, and then I'm actually going to pull this way and catch the corner of my panniard, whether I'm using soft ones or box panniards, doesn't matter. And then I'm going to run this up this way. Now the next step is crucial in the regard to, I'm going to twist this rope in order to form a diamond on this side, and I want to put my diamond up high on my load but not clear on top. Okay, so here's where I'm selecting to put this diamond, is right where my hand is, and I don't want to put it way down here because that's not going to actually give me any performance out of this hitch. I'm going to put it right here so it'll hold my sides in and hold my top in at the same time. So here I'm going to twist this rope remember how you twisted it on this side. The other side's going to have to twist the opposite way. So I'm twisting it from the back strand under the front. Okay, I'm going to put 2 or 3 wraps on there. It depends how much you want to compress from here. If you notice, a smaller diamond will focus the compression on this side. A bigger diamond will actually spread out and distribute that particular compression and hold to your hitch. So I'm gonna, next thing is run this end of your rope under this corner of your diamond, and I'm gonna pull that whole thing out. Okay, just like that. I'm holding on to my slack too, if you notice. That's the hard part to remember to do. I've done this thousands of times, so it's kind of automatic to me, and I have to think it through when I'm trying to show somebody else, but that's good too. Okay, so I'm going to keep my slack from developing too much there, and then since I'm using box panniers, I'm going to run this over the top of that corner over here. Okay, I'm going to switch to the other side. If you're using kind of green stock, this can get a little dicey, so don't spend too much time in the back end. And if you're switching from one end to the other, that means move right along when you have to do that. The next step, if you remember, I wrapped my rope at the back over front on the other side. I need to do front over back on this side. So I'm going to pick it out here. Remember, 2 or 3 wraps here. The important part of this is that if I wrap it the same way on each side, then it's just going to unravel. That's why we have opposing wraps on each side to develop our diamond. Just like that. We've got a nice diamond developing right there. And I'm going to run this end, the end of my rope, through here. And here's the little bit different, the difference on this hitch on this side is I'm just going to actually run a loop through here to catch my panniers. But I'm going to take the end of the rope and run it all the way through. So hold on to your slack on this side. And pull your end of your rope through. Now, this loop here is going to go around my panniers. I can continue to take up some slack and snug things up as I go. This is going to go around the corner there of that panniard, and then around this corner, the front, right there. Then I'm going to work this up. Okay, and then we're going to pass it over to the other side. This is a good hitch to get a partner if he or she knows what they're doing, and then you can just pass it over. A lot of times, I mean, you need to know this from both sides to be able to do it by yourself too, but anyway, we'll pick it up on this side. And we're going to run this whole end of the rope over this way. We're going to take this end of the rope and run it underneath. So we spread our diamond here, and then we're going to pull all the slack out of the rope this way. Okay, I'm going to pick up a little more slack there, and then I'm going to come down right here, and I'm gonna tie it off. And this tie off is kind of the same one I use consistently through all of my tie offs. Is just a loop. Okay, well, actually, I'm not gonna tie it off there. I've got ahead of myself. So I ran it through there. All right, center up a little bit more, and I'm gonna actually come here and tie it off. And you can see what I'm doing a little bit better by doing that too, but there's a reason for it. is I'm going to tie that off, cinch it a little bit, make sure it's tight, and then pull that loop through a loop. Okay, make it a small loop since it's on the side and it can get caught up. Okay, like that. Now, here's where if you got a little extra rope here, you can put it away. I use the coil and I pull it through the loop that I built, like that. And then I'm going to bring it around here and tuck it right through there. This may not be exactly tight, so actually when you get to the point where you've actually put the tie off there, the loop through a loop, you can actually start on this side, even if you're by yourself, and try to get this hitch a little bit tighter. You can tighten it from here and just work the slack around until you can take it up on the very end of it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. And all I really hope for is that you get out there in the hills and use this hitch, because it's a good one.